All right, so our first review of the day is going to be for the film Outlaw Johnny Black. So, Outlaw Johnny Black is a movie directed by Michael Jai White, who also is the titular character in the film. I was very much looking forward to this, especially after the film Black Dynamite, which we talked about, we reviewed. It's up on the channel now on YouTube, youtube.com, The Afternoon Tune. And I was a huge fan of Black Dynamite. Loved it a lot. It's one of my favorite movies ever, in fact. And this is a lot of the same creative team that brought you Black Dynamite, except minus the director, as Nick mentioned beforehand. Michael Jai White is the one directing this movie, and he has directed other films before, like the Never Back Down series.
He directed the 2 direct-to-video sequels of it, and they're fine for being direct-to-video action movies.
Yeah. And this one is kind of in Outlaw Johnny Black. It's in the similar kind of vein, a little bit of Black Dynamite, where it's a blaxploitation type film, but this time set in a Western setting. A lot of the humor of it, you probably are going to get more kind of, it's more akin to maybe something like Blazing Saddles, a little bit more satirical in that sense. And so the humor's a little bit more different than Black Dynamite is. And it's about a character, you guessed it, about an outlaw by the name of Johnny Black, who is hell-bent on revenge. He's looking for another outlaw by the name of Brent Clayton, the man that killed his father. And it's kind of his search to find him, maybe even for forgiveness along the way, and trying to get revenge for his father there. So that's kind of the basic kind of setup you have here, of this film. And I will say with this film, as excited as I was with it, I was a little disappointed. I don't think it's as good as Black Dynamite. I don't even think it's maybe half as good as that movie is. I think there's some good moments in here, and there's some funny stuff going on here. I don't know if it's because maybe you have, a director, Michael Jai White, instead of the director of Black Dynamite, who the director of Black Dynamite, I'm blanking on his name at the moment. I don't know if you ever pulled up. I think his name was Sanders, I believe was his last name.
Scott Sanders was the director of Black Dynamite.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's maybe the major difference here. But the movie's really overly long. It's 2 hours and 15 minutes. And I feel like you could cut 30 minutes off of this and it would really service it a lot better. And there's kind of some plot lines. I feel like, okay, you could cut this out and reduce this. There's a whole subplot here. Like, for instance, the one character, he was also, you have, like I said, a lot of the same cast and crew that are in this movie that was also in Black Dynamite here. You have the one character who's the preacher man character. I'm blanking on his name too. Do you remember his name? The one that was
preacher. I think his character's name was Reverend Percy, and he's played by Byron Mins, who played Bullhorn in Black Dynamite.
Bullhorn, yeah, in Black Dynamite there. And there's a whole kind of plot where he gets kidnapped by natives, and then he gets forcibly married to one of them, and it's like, okay, I feel like you cut this all out. This seems kind of unnecessary here.
Some of the plots and some of the jokes felt very, very at home in 2009, and it kind of feels a little bit outdated and a little bit mean-spirited here.
Yeah. I think that feels like way kind of past its time, that comedy there. And then, a lot of stuff. And then the whole main plot of the movie of like him getting revenge, you almost kind of forget about that midway through the movie, because like a whole nother plot comes in when he goes to another town and he, fakes the identity of someone else. And then he tries to scam some money out of town. And then he kind of, has a change of heart and everything like that, connects with the town like that. That takes up such a large portion. You almost forget, oh, right, the dude that he was supposed to get revenge on. Oh, yeah, where is he again? And where is he going to come back all into this? And there's like a whole other villain that comes into it by the name of Barry Botswick, who plays evil.
Yeah, I don't think he's even given a name. He's just he's just a character named the Land Baron.
Oh, no, it's Shelley.
Shelley. Yeah, that's the character's name.
Yeah. So it's like that just comes in, and then there's a romance plot involved in here. 2 beautiful women, by the way, who are in here as well. Erica Ash and Akina Noni Rose here plays Jessie Lee and Bessie Lee, 2 sisters here. I was kind of a little disappointed by it. Not to say I wanted to be the exact same thing as Black Dynamite, or to copy that same thing. You're in a different setting, which is nice, a Western setting. And there are even some homages to, you know, that era of film. And there's even some people who come in that you might recognize that they pay tribute to in the movie, which is kind of cool, which is very nice there. But, you know, but I want to toss it to you, get your opinion on it. What do you think about Outlaw Johnny Black?
See, I'm a little bit of two minds with Outlaw Johnny Black, because like you, I'm a massive, huge fan of Black Dynamite, and I was so excited to, you know, hear rumblings about this movie and that this was going to be most of the same cast and crew back. But then I looked at the runtime of 2 hours and 15 minutes, and I was like, ooh, shit.
Yeah.
It's like, how, because part of the charm and part of what worked about Black Dynamite was that it was also just as kind of jumbled as this movie is. But the benefit with Black Dynamite was that it was only 84 minutes. It got in and out, and it was so quickly paced, and it was so funny consistently throughout that you don't really feel the time go by. And here, I think some of the comedic bits, especially around how they treat some of the native people, a lot of their jokes, I feel like that is kind of unnecessary and just kind of drag the movie down, even though you get a great comedic performance from Byron Min. And for me, this movie didn't really catch any momentum until you get Michael Jai White playing this town's preacher. And then there's this monologue where he's preaching to this town because he's not a religious character, but his father was, and he starts like remembering the stuff that his dad would say as a kid, and you start to see it. And it's this moment of sincerity that I didn't expect from a movie of this kind, and it really took me aback, and I was really kind of moved by it.
Yeah, I mean, it just kind of takes kind of long to really get into things. Michael Jai White's still a great lead. I think he does well with a lot of the comedy. He's got good comedic chops, and he can deliver. You know, he's got good comedic timing there, and it kind of works. And you know, I mentioned there's some good funny bits in the movie. Like there's a scene where that's a recurring gag in it, where they bring up his wanted poster, and it absolutely looks nothing like him. And they pull it out, and they go like, "Oh yeah, that looks just like him." Like, oh crap! So that's a good bit and gag.
Yeah, there are some nods to Black Dynamite, like one of the charges that he's listed of as Johnny Black is about to get hung is inappropriate eye contact with a white woman and kung fu treachery.
Yes, I mean there's some good things like that in it, and I think it's a lot more low key than what Black Dynamite was.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I can appreciate that it's going for more of a low-key vibe versus Black Dynamite, but I think with a tighter script, maybe like 30 to 20 minutes cut out of this, I think this would have been a very worthy successor to Black Dynamite.
Yeah. If you just made it more tighter, more concise, that would have been a lot better. And then when they do the whole big, like, you know, shootout at the end, which they pay, again, that's all very much paying homage to like the Western stuff, and the footage kind of changes, and there's people, you know, going through the roofs, and there's people, you know, getting hit with chairs, and there's like a bar fight in here, you know, again, you know, all that kind of good stuff that you have in the Western stuff that they pay tribute to, which is fun and really nice. The supporting cast in here, I mentioned the two sisters in here, Jessie Lee and Bessie Lee. There's a really good moment with the one sister, Jessie Lee, where she goes hysterical. That is really good. That's really funny. She does a really, really funny job at that.
Oh yeah, because she looks at Johnny Black, who's playing this preacher that she has been exchanging letters with for a long time. They plan to get married, and she just sees this massive hunk of man meat that is Michael Jai White.
Oh no, I was mentioning the scene like after that, like after they make a discovery about him. And she gets really mad at him. I thought that.
That is absolutely brilliant, and props to Erica Ash, because that could have, you know, crossed the line into like Tyler Perry levels of parody. But
no, that was
stayed funny here.
Annika. That was Annika Rose.
Bessie Lee played Erica Ash is Bessie Lee, and Annika Noni is Jessie Lee.
Right, Jessie Lee was the one that was mad. That was
right. Yeah, even I'm getting them mixed up.
Damn, getting his black women mixed up. Damn, man. So she was really good. She did a lot of good physical comedy stuff in here. I thought was really good. What you think about the supporting cast in here? You know, mentioning like I said, some people brought back from Black Dynamite. Like you have Kevin Chapman, who's the Marshal, Tommy Davidson, who really isn't in this movie a whole lot. He plays Clancy. He really isn't in the movie a whole lot. You also have Kim Whitley, who's in there, who's one of the members of the church. Gary Anthony Williams, who he wasn't in Black Dynamite, but people know that he was the voice of Uncle Ruckus and the Boondocks. Who looks really good. He lost a lot of weight.
He also played Smart Brother in Undercover Brother.
Yeah, also played Smart Brother and Undercover Brother there. So what did you think about the supporting cast in this?
The supporting cast, I think, is absolutely fantastic. They come in and they get their comedic bits to run with, and they are so funny playing off of Michael Jai White and kind of his befuddledness. One of the big standout scenes was when he first takes over pretending to be the town pastor, and he's trying to preach and quote the Bible, and he's just trying to lead them into it.
Yeah. It's really good there. And then you have Tony Baker, who plays the sheriff here. So good kind of supporting cast of people that you have here. The main villain of it, you have two main kind of villains. You have the one who plays Brent Clayton, and the one who plays Tom what's his name, Shelley.
Tom Shealy, and that's
Shealy.
Barry Bostwick.
Yeah.
Barry Bostwick is Tom Schilling, and Brett Clayton is played by Chris Browning.
Yeah. They do a decent job. I mean, they're very much, ripped out of especially Bostwick's character, very much ripped out of something from the blaxploitation era there, the way he's playing it. So he does a really good job there, I think. And so I think they handled that stuff pretty well. And the supporting cast does a pretty much decent job. But it's just man, the heights of Black Dynamite and the quotability of that movie, and I don't know, I guess was that the secret sauce? Maybe if you had a more experienced director, like in Scott Sanders from Black Dynamite, was that just it? And then writing this movie, you have Brian Mins and Michael Jai White in this. And we just mentioned that Brian Mins was the character there of the preacher, and they both wrote this movie. Was that you think that was the secret sauce? Maybe having more of an experienced director.
Possibly, because to my knowledge, Scott Sanders really didn't have that much experience directing, even back before Black Dynamite. I mean, he's directed more movies, but nothing to the level of something like Black Dynamite.
Yeah, and he also wrote that movie as well. He helped write it as well, and he wasn't involved here. So I don't know, maybe.
I think the biggest thing with Black Dynamite was it was just kind of this perfect storm of circumstances at all of the right people coming together at the right time with the right circumstances. And I think the fact that a lot of the way that it was filmed, because it was shot over 20 days on the Super 16 millimeter, I feel like that was a huge factor in what made that movie work so well. Because they were trying to so capture the spirit of a blaxploitation film, even down to how they were making it.
Interesting. Yeah. So I mean, I guess give my rating for this. I guess I would give it just a stream it, just kind of a middle, kind of low stream it there. For this. Like I said, if you trimmed off the time of this movie, 30, 40 minutes, that'd been a lot better. Then I would have served the movie a lot better, maybe more tighter, maybe more concise. Wouldn't been so many kind of useless kind of subplots that kind of just go everywhere there. A lot of the humor does feel super, super outdated. A lot of stuff. I do like some of the gags they do with that, even though they try to bring some outdated humor there. Like a lot of the some of the Native Americans that you see are white. They're just clearly white people there that are playing Native.
I mean, that was one that actually did get me. I did get a good chuckle at that.
Yeah, one plainly obvious white guy that's a native here.
It's one guy that looks got blue eyes.
Yeah, then one that looks just straight Italian, just looks Italian guy, and they even do a callback to a famous Native American commercial.
Yeah, and that one it's played by Russell Peters.
Yeah, which I don't know. I guess that's kind of tired. The joke they do with that. That's kind of that's been done a lot though. So yeah, I would say. Yeah, I just give it kind of a lowish stream here. What about you?
Me, I'm kind of the same level as you are right with this movie. I think that when the movie does shine, it shines with how White is choosing to stay away from like this cynical attitude that comes with a lot of people that go into parody. It's like this entire subgenre. It's so dumb. I'm just gonna take the piss out of it. And he doesn't do that. He pays loving tribute and respect to the Western genre. And I think Johnny Black is a great character and he has a lot of screen presence. I think the fight scenes in this are fantastic. And a lot of the moments with White and him like learning about community with this small town that he's faking being a preacher in, I think all of that works really well. What doesn't work about this movie is it is way too long. You could easily trim 20 to 30 minutes out of this. And I think that some of the humor, it falls flat more often than it doesn't in this movie, especially with some of these kind of more outdated jokes that feel like this would have been catnip back in like 2008.
Yeah. Yeah. So you give it a stream it as well.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So 2 streamings for Outlaw Johnny Black. Yeah.